this chapel is a funny place. So this is the first church building that was built on campus. And everything that's in here is child-sized, right? So all the pews, they come up to here on me. They're low, and even these little altar rails, the altar, these little bookcases right here on the side, everything is child-sized in this room. And it may not make a big difference for a lot of adults, and you may not even notice if you're an adult that you're in a room that's entirely built for children. But children notice it because all their world, everything around them is built with adults in mind. It's almost like they have to accommodate themselves to the adult world constantly. One of the great things about being down here is that they don't have to accommodate themselves to the adult world. It's a way they can ask any kind of question that comes to them. You know, one of the most important things about Assembly is that you can bring your whole self to this school. You can ask any question's allowed, any question's welcomed. And so we get all sorts of questions. One of the questions in my last assembly was, what does worship mean? And that's a fine question. And it's hard to explain what it means. One of the questions that we get the most frequently, question we get most often is the question, is that real? Did it really happen? And that question comes up all the time whenever I tell a story about Abraham or tell a story about story from the Bible. They want to know, did that happen? What does that mean for me? How does that, what kind of effect does it have on my life? And so a lot of the chapel and assembly services we have wondering time for very small children, and at wondering time we move this whole altar back and all the kids can sit on the floor here, and we tell a story with what are called manipulatives. They're like a little wooden donkey or little wooden figures, like a wooden Noah's Ark. So we tell the story using those little objects. And for preschool students, you have to do it that way. You have to have it in very small groups, and the kids are all really close in proximity, and we have a conversation about what this story means. And then for the elementary school, this whole room is filled with students. And in the elementary school, we talk about all sorts of kinds of values. I mean, every single the Episcopal schools in the United States, very few of them are mostly Episcopal. 20% of the students in the Episcopal schools in the country, less than 20% are Episcopalian. So the point is not to go out and make everybody into little Episcopalians. The point isn't to just take care of the ones that we already have. The point is to create a place where kids can really be themselves, where they can be exposed to some of the values that we have. And some of the values we have are that every single person is equal in God's eyes. Every single person, whether they believe or don't believe, what they don't believe, where they came from, what their sexual orientation is, that God loves all people equally. And it's kind of a foundational fact, but for us, it means that we can talk about self-esteem, we can talk about honesty, we can talk about what does it mean to be a good friend. We talk about genuineness, generosity. We talk about all these important values which really come down to treating other people with dignity and treating other people with a sense of respect. And that's something that children understand very well. One of my favorite assemblies we had this last fall was we invited one of my friends who's one of the first women who's ordained in the Episcopal Church. So this woman has been harassed. She's been put down. The first time she ever came to this church, the head of the church was going to had a debate with her about whether women should be ordained or not. So she was in her 20s and the rector was in his 40s, and it must have been a horrible experience to come here and have to be the one person who's a stranger and the one person who's advocating for these views. But she talked about what it was like to be ordained and to be one of the first women, and the children really understood the sense that when you get right down to it, it's about fairness. So they were appalled to hear that there was a time when boys could do one thing and girls couldn't do it, when boys could be a priest and girls couldn't. So it's an example of some of the things that we do. We do so many things with the kids. We play a lot of music, we sing songs, we tell stories. Some of the stories are biblical stories, some of them have not very much to do with the Bible. But it's a great chance for us to be together as a community. You know who really likes these? Is the birds. The birds they eat the seeds inside. And one time, one of the birds was eating the seeds inside, and the seeds kind of it kind of makes them not very good at flying. And so the bird was eating the seeds, and they flew right into my window. Isn't that funny? That's what